What would you like to flush out of this world?
Oh my god, I have a list, Ikenna. No, okay.
Ikenna!
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Toilet Talks. I'm Ikenna Azuike. Now, if we want to solve the huge problems facing the world today, we need big and bold ideas from inspirational people. And that's where Toilet Talks comes in, a show about big ideas from the smallest room. Toilet Talks is a show from water and sanitation champion IRC. The guest joining me on the show today is a very energetic woman. For 2 years, she was the Netherlands youth representative to the United Nations, and since then, she set up her own business advising organizations and governments on how to engage with the youth, and all of this while studying for her master's degree. It is the one, the only, the unstoppable Hajar Yagkoubi. Hajar, welcome.
Oh my god. Ikenna, that's way too much honor for me. I'm super happy to be here.
So you're living in your parents' house at the moment, right?
Yeah.
And do you have any siblings in the house as well?
Yeah. So we're a total of 6 people, 4 kids, 2 parents.
Do you never have siblings banging on the door saying, Hajar, come on, get out of there?
Oh, all the time. That's the thing with like the toilet and the bathroom, especially like in mornings when we all have to go to the train station or to school. It's crazy. It's like fighting for your place in the sanitary rooms, to say that.
Okay, if I gave you the opportunity now to sum up in a couple of sentences why it is so important for us to listen to the youth, what would you say?
Well, first off, young people are more than half of the world population, and on the other side, there's 3% of the parliamentarians worldwide that are under the age of 30. So if we're just talking about a moral obligation of democratic representation, it is so crucial to get that youth perspective in there. And because, there's this quote that I very much like, but it says, we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, but we borrow her from our children. And I think that's so true. If there's one generation that has to go on for the long term with this world, then it's us. So there is no other group that has more stake, that is a bigger stakeholder to be included than us.
What advice would you give then to IRC? IRC is obviously fighting to change these systems, but I'm sure they could do with even more young people being part of their decision-making processes. What would you advise IRC when it comes to listening to the voice of the youth?
Always, right? I feel like you can't talk enough with young people as organizations and governments. Yeah, very, very fundamentally, of course, to sit around the table with them. But then what I also think is really important, and we often tend to forget that, is sometimes we make this assumption that youth is this homogeneous group, which it's not. I mean, there are a lot of different sorts of young people from different socioeconomic backgrounds, different gender identities, different sexualities. And I think it's really important that we make sure that when we do consult with young people, that we make sure that, we talk with young people from all different layers of society. At least what I saw at the United Nations was that it was very often, these sort of elite young people who usually have richer parents or parents in more influential positions from some countries that were included, whereas the problems that we're talking about, usually young people from marginalized groups are usually way more affected by them, and we should actually have them seated at the table just as well as a well-represented way as the other groups.
So Hajar, Toilet Talks is all about big ideas from the smallest room. I would love to know what your big insight is, something that helps shape your life or give you a totally new outlook. What is your big insight?
So my insight is that showing your emotions is a strength as opposed to a weakness.
Yeah.
All these emotions are human. They're part of our shared human experience, and it's okay to share them. One very big benefit for everyone is that for the longest period of time, we've separated, professional work and things that we work on, which also includes working on social causes. We've separated that from the feelings that we feel for it, as though it would be like an obstacle in our work and in our advocacy. But it's so interlinked, and we really need that empathy back in the work, I think.
For me, it's only also been pretty recent. I'd say I was like 35 when I started interviewing more people as part of my work, and I realized, like you, I'd long seen it as a weakness to get super emotional.
Yeah.
But I realized that, it's honest. And when other people, the people that you're talking to, kind of see that honesty, then they're more willing to be honest. It's that simple.
Yeah.
and open up. And then you have a kind of a better meeting of minds, and you can really share your true feelings and insights, and just move the conversation further than this superficial, I'm tough, I'm macho level.
I also sometimes feel like it's like projected in different ways on men and women. Like when a woman does it, she's often seen as hysteric and angry and bitchy if she's too clear about something. But on the other hand, I also feel like there's this centuries old notion where if a man is being emotional, it is also seen as a weakness as opposed to a strength. Whereas I feel like right now in the world, and especially in some of the world leaders, we are dealing with a lot of toxic masculinity, if I could call it that. So I feel like for both groups and for all people, it's really something that has been around and has shaped our view of what a leader is supposed to look like, what a leader is supposed to act like for the longest period of time.
Yeah. Okay, talking about leaders then, who do you think is really good at showing their emotions?
Ooh, when I talk about political leaders, I'm a very, very, very big fan of Jacinda Ardern from New Zealand. I think she really displays like her empathy very well in her work, but also like emotion in a way, she's a very empathetic person, at least from what I've seen. And also it's also not just reflected in her behavior, but also in the kind of legislature that she, fulfills. And for example, I think very recently she introduced a law that would allow paternal leave for people who've had a miscarriage for their child. I think it's that sort of empathy that we need.
I feel like you mentioned something which is maybe for me actually the greatest personal benefit of being open with your emotions. From a very personal point of view, it's so liberating when you feel comfortable to just be yourself, wear your emotions on your sleeve.
Yeah.
So tell us, Hajar Yagkoubi, what would you like to flush out of this world?
Oh my God, I have a list, Ikenna. No, okay.
There's Ikenna.
I have a very serious answer and a very passionate answer.
Okay.
I'll start with the serious one. So first off,
young people always want more, don't they?
Yeah, but we can't ask it, right? Because we need to compensate for all the times that we're not included by naming a couple more. I think you'll forgive me, right, Ikenna? So for the serious one, intolerance. I would really, 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 really like to flush intolerance through the toilet with like the big flush button, not the smaller one, because it's such a toxic, venomous thing. I feel like in society, and I think everything would be more effective and better if we would be a little bit more accepting of each other, a little bit more tolerant. So whether you're talking about xenophobia, transphobia, Islamophobia, there's so much going on, and it's also sometimes I feel like those tendencies are rising. So if it would be as simple as pressing the flush button, I would definitely do that for intolerance.
And what's the other thing you'd like to flush out? Okay,
so this one stems from my passion, but I would love to flush Crocs. Do you know them, Ikenna? The shoes? They are the most hideous things I've ever seen. I used to wear them actually a lot of times when I was a child, and I buttoned them up. You'd have like these pin-ins that you could add on it, like all these accessories. Maybe it's a little bit childhood trauma that makes me say this, but if I had a chance, I'd flush those too.
Okay, so let's count down. 3, 2, 1. We're going to get rid of intolerance, and let's get rid of Crocs. We'll get rid of Crocs, okay?
Yes.
So after I say 3, 2, 1, then we'll say flush.
Okay.
Flush. Okay, so 3, 2, 1.
Flush. Flush, flush, flush.
They're gone. Intolerance is gone.
Yes,
Crocs
guys.
are gone.
That's a win for today.
Well done. Who would you like to pass the role on to, Hajar Yagkoubi? Who would you love to do that to?
Good question.
The Toilet Talks role.
So maybe it's a big shot, but to stay in line with like the generations needing to collaborate a little bit more, I would actually find it amazing if I could pass the role to Sir David Attenborough. Especially considering his work, also the documentary he made, Life on Our Planet, like all the inspiring stuff, and because it would also be very funny to see him give the interview from his toilet. So that would be
I feel like you have to. He's nearly 90, so you probably have to throw the toilet roll very gently.
Yeah, right, and maybe have like some cushion on it as well.
Wise elderly hands. To everyone else out there, thank you for watching. My name is Ikenna Azuike. See you again soon for another edition of Toilet Talks. See you again soon with, who knows, maybe a very special guest whose name rhymes with Mavid Cattenborough. Oh God. I'll do that again.